All right, guys, so thanks for joining us on the post-match. If you just jumped in with us, we have Mark Anthony Souza back with us, Scott Bradford over here. I'm Casey J. Thanks for tuning in. There's been a lot of matches that's happened over the last week since we last talked to you on one of these podcasts. We played Rio Grande Valley, New Mexico United, and Orange County. For me, this is 3 games that we needed to get at least 4 to, if not more, points from. And only getting the 1 point was not good enough. Disappointing, say, month all around. Let's just jump into it. What do you think about these 3 games? Like, what are some of the key problems you think we're having right now?
Yeah, these are 3 games against teams below us in the standings. We had a good chance to separate, but we lose 2, 1 at home, and then we get a draw on the road. Unfortunately, I just think it's a terrible run. I think it's absolutely terrible to get 1 point from 3 teams who are just not very good teams. I mean, yeah, New Mexico currently holds a playoff spot. Orange County, maybe they could sneak in, but I mean, it's one thing to play the Phoenixes, the Fresnos, the Renos, the Portlands, but to come away with 1 point in those 3 fixtures and a soft spot of the schedule is just not good enough.
Absolutely. Your thought on the last 3 games, just to kind of a general key
Well,
thoughts.
I mean, heartbreakers. I mean, 2 of them were just like one was last minute, one was last 2 minutes. I mean, it just shows, okay, is our defense now kind of giving in? Like, that's our strong point. Now is this, I mean, if your offense and defense goes, what do you got left?
Yeah.
And literally, half our defense, Cohen, just left. So, I mean, what's next? So it's the way they lost. If it was like a 1-0 or something like that, and they scored like in the 36th minute, we were trying to get back in it, or it was a 2-1. But it's the way they cracked under pressure, basically. So that's even more concerning, was when you can't hold on, like, literally 1 more minute, literally, and he couldn't do that. And then from there on out, I mean, and then OC, I did see an improvement. I was physically there, so I see them. The guys were in the game and whatnot. I didn't like that Elliott kind of held them back the last 10 minutes when he saw, okay, this isn't going anywhere. They're not scoring on us. We're not scoring on them. So let's just hold on to what we can get. And when you've lost the previous 2 games, I disagree. So.
Yeah. It was a rough last 3 games, but out of the last 6, we've only won 1. Now, we would say Reno and Fresno, you're probably going to lose. Those are 2 good teams right now. We're not necessarily playing the best, but losing to Rio Grande Valley, New Mexico United, and OC was especially bad for me, and I've kind of talked about it. But losing that 2 points on the road after missed chances and the opportunities we had in Orange County, that's what really disappointed me, and I see that as 2 points lost. Would you say 1 point on the road was good enough in Orange County?
No, not in a game like that where, I mean, we should have scored 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah.
It should have been a comfortable win. You know, of course, they missed a big opportunity. They had 1 breakaway that they missed, but man, you're looking at 3, 4 big chances that went wrong, and you just can't do that kind of stuff, especially on the road. And just to get a point, you almost feel fortunate at that point because you don't score, and you're thinking like, hey, if we don't score, we're probably not getting anything from this game. So
that's been our luck recently.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not good enough. Not good enough at all.
Scott, 1 point on the road. Good enough? No? Yes? Maybe?
In this situation, obviously no. If we would have won against Rio Grande Valley or New Mexico, got another point, that's 4 points out of 3 games. I could see it, okay, you're on the road, you're supposed to tie on the road, win at home. But if you're not winning at home, guess what? You need to win somewhere. That's why I was more upset when he went for that tie late in the game. Like, it's like, coach, we're falling behind. We need to start catching up sometime. I know it's mid-season, you do have the time, but then it's going to turn into, okay, you can't start pushing for ties, later on in the season. So why not go for it now instead of waiting to see, maybe we can push for ties later in the season. Yeah. Let's just go for those wins now so we didn't put ourselves in that situation in the first place.
Absolutely. I've talked about it. If you want to be a top team, you have to beat the teams below you. And this isn't, in my opinion, a tough game on the road. It's not a far travel. It's not like we're traveling halfway across the country to play Orange County. It's in an environment where the guys train. The weather was nice, so there's none of that kind of element to it. To me, this was just points dropped. Honestly, it's just been disappointing all around for me the last few seasons, but this game was a little bit better for me. There was some positives, and mostly just the press for me out of this game was the only positive I took. I think one of the big problems we've seen recently is we can't keep clean sheets anymore. We started talking about our defensive and how good we were early defensively, but the manager has kind of switched things around. We can't keep a consistent lineup in the back. We've seen Kynan kind of back off on players and not do as good as he has. What are some of the defensive woes that we're looking at, and what are some of the ways that maybe we should solve these, or do you think it just is time still?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I think Kynan's playing too much. We have a good defender, Horace, sitting on the bench, who I think is a better player at this moment in time. Kynan, he has experience, he has the history, but he's also a little long in the tooth, and we see him get beat on 1v1s consistently now. He consistently sinks in too far into his box, allowing players to get good shots on goal, and he's given up a couple of those.
We saw that in New Mexico especially.
He's also gotten a red card for us. He has, I get the leadership aspect, I get the experience, but you can't sacrifice quality for experience or leadership. And I think that we have a guy like Horace, we have a guy like Mahoney sitting on the bench, and both of those players have definitely been big for us when they've gotten called upon. So I want to see Kynan first and foremost removed from the starting lineup. At least he shouldn't be a regular. As for the rest of the defense, I don't see any problems. I mean, obviously the difference from Cohen to Diaz is monumental. I mean, let's be honest, we're going from a top 2 or 3 USL keeper to a backup keeper. Yeah, that's going to always be a big drop, and it's not a knock against Diaz, it's just reality. So there's nothing you can do there. I'd like to see the team bring in another keeper. We know that this is the loan and transfer period going on right now, so maybe an MLS team that has 3 or 4 keepers sends one out. I think that Donovan should definitely be on the phone looking for a better option there. At least someone to come in and compete. Because right now we have Diaz, and we have a 16-year-old backup.
Absolutely. Scott, I mean, we've seen a lot of inconsistency overall with our squad, but I think inconsistency in the back line especially hurts a team because you don't get that chemistry. Do you think the inconsistency is hurting us? And if so, who do you think should be in? Mark,
I'm absolutely with Mark. Watched it firsthand. Kynan, back off. If you guys almost in your 6-yard box, you're still backing off. I mean, just give them the goal line on shift. So,
absolutely.
Also, I'd like to go. I would replace Horace with Kynan with Horace. And then I actually was talking to Horace about this. I was like, dude, why aren't you getting in? Whatever. What is the coach going to try something? He's talking about going 3 in the back and then letting him. He has midfield experience. Let him roam up a little bit. So
we saw that against Portland, and we won.
Yeah. So
he played that center back,
exactly.
But it was more of a defensive midfielder in the attack.
Exactly.
The one time the coach changed the formation.
Because when you're struggling on attack, you need to go towards that. Our defense, majority has been good. We just saw we got a clean sheet last game, so we know the defense is still there. Even if we don't play 100%, defense is still there. Barhona's huge pickup.
Yeah.
I love seeing him in there. I mean, you got options. Gomez, obviously. I think him and Curry kind of interchangeable. They kind of similar style. I would give the nod to Gomez, though. He's a little bit faster. I like his experience as well with the team. And then you can't touch Tainter. I mean, you got to leave him in there. But I have seen him get beat on speed, though. I've seen guys go right by him, but he's aggressive. He'll slide tackle. He'll get back into play. So
he's got a great long pass too.
And the pass.
His ability to play over the top and out to the wings like Gomez and Barahona when they're playing, or even give it up to Bonomo up top to hold that play up. That's something that a lot of our other center backs don't have. So that's why I think he starts to. But yeah, definitely. For me, I think the inconsistency has killed us a lot, and I think that's been a problem all around. You need to find your best two, especially this far in the season, and you need to stick with them. Because center backs and the outside backs, they need to play a coherent game. And if you keep changing around and you're not letting guys get the minutes together, I think that hurts altogether. And that's the coach for me, making some bad decisions, not knowing what he's doing. I think it's still him being a young coach.
I think I would welcome 3 in the back. I really would.
I would too.
Yeah. And then you could play Barahona as one of the wing backs, and then McCrary and Gomez on the other side. We saw it against Portland. That was our best game that we played in our last 6.
Yeah.
We controlled the game. We created chances. It wasn't a perfect game, by no means, but I thought it was a better look to our team.
It was suited to our players better.
Yeah, so, there's no, I guess, reason not to try it. And our next opponent, San Antonio, started off the season terribly. About a month and a half ago, they switched to a 3-back system, and they've been on fire.
They do a 3-4-2-1, I think it is, like a Christmas tree.
We should try it then. I mean, because we're basically we've swapped spots basically. They're gaining, we're losing, so let's just take a page from their book. And we got, like I said, we got the guy to do it. I think Hars can do it. So
last year we tried 3 in the back against Reno in the U.S. Open Cup, and we won.
So we've had good results. It's just, is the coach, is he too stubborn, too hard-headed to
We've talked about
I
that.
would say yes.
And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about more about the coaching and his effect on this team. Mark answered this already for us, but I want to get your opinion on it. So Diaz, for me, has gotten better over the last few games that he started.
Yes.
He looked real nervous that first game against Rio Grande. But ever since then, he has looked a better keeper in my mind. Mark obviously doesn't think he's a starter, still thinks we need to go and get us a new player. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is he a starter? Is the 16-year-old backup good enough, or do we need to go to
you got to go get a starter. I mean, some of those, there are point-blank shots, so there's nothing he could do about those. I did see progress the OC game. He was, stuff was hectic. He was there. He was getting hands on balls. That's what you're supposed to do as a keeper. But it's, there's Cohen, then he's down here somewhere. So, you need to get someone somewhere close.
The
to
problem
Cohen.
is that even if you think Diaz is good enough for to be our first string, who is replacing him if he gets hurt?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
we
Are we going to bring on the academy kid?
Yeah, we have an academy kid backing up our starter right now. 16 years old, and he looks every bit of 16 years old. Like he's not going to put us in playoff contention. We expect, as a fan base, higher quality than that. We expect to have. We always know we don't have the biggest roster, but we expect the roster to be filled with quality. Maybe not quantity, but filled with quality. So I think that it would be a big red flag if we see only Diaz as our keeper for the rest of the season.
I completely agree. I think Diaz has done great, and credit to the guy to come on in a tough situation where critics are on his back automatically, and he is doing better, so credit to him. But I think he does need a backup minimum, but I think a full-time number one has to be brought in if we want to be a serious team going forward.
Yes.
I don't have it on my notes, but I do want to talk about the midfield. I think it's the most consistent part of our game right now. Now, to say that, it's still not good, and we're not connecting passes well enough and things like that. But we'll just touch on it real quick and not spend too much time on it. Is it the most consistent part of our game right now, do you think? Or?
Yeah, especially the defensive midfield. I see guys like Sari, Skundrich. If we lose the ball, they're right there together. There's no lack of hustle, and majority of the time they do get it back. When we get beat, it's usually with some aerial, some over the top, some going around the outside.
Yeah.
They're not bringing it straight up the gut always. Those guys are always there. So the defensive midfield, I would say, would be more consistent. Offensive midfield,
That's
as we
up
know
there,
about, as we've seen, if you're not scoring anything, that's kind of on you.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
the forward, so.
100%. Yeah, Mark, what do you think? Is our midfield been our best part of us right now?
Yeah, by default.
At a very low bar set.
Sari has been good. I think Villarreal has been pretty good. But still, the other midfielder, we haven't found a consistent presence there. Skundrich had a run. Partaine's been getting back into it. I still don't think it's consistent, even if it's the most consistent part of our team.
Absolutely, and hands down. But when I was doing my match build out here where I was going to talk about things, I skipped the midfield because it was okay, well, it's good enough that I don't have anything to gripe about necessarily, but it's not good enough that it's been performing well either. If I can say anything, the passing has been the worst. There are some real loose passes and other than that, but fairly well. Our best players are all coming out of our midfield.
That game against OC was pretty ugly in terms of passing the ball.
But our top players, Sari, Warner, and Iwasa, unfortunately with Iwasa, are all coming out of the midfield right now. And so that for me was that. So I just will move on. The obvious big glaring problem with the team is our attacking woes that we're currently having. And that's just not putting the ball in the net. We talked about it. At Orange County, we should be up 3-0 easily. Easily up 3-0 at some points. And we can't do it. Let's just talk about it. Mark, why don't you dive in on the attacking woes?
Iwasa's got 9 goals and 3 assists. Sam Warner's got 5 goals and 3 assists. Other than that, the attacking has been terrible. I think we can all agree to that.
Yeah.
Bonamo, Bijev, and Blackwood They have played 2,700 minutes together, the three. Not all at the same time, but 2,700 total minutes, 28 starts. Those three players combined have 3 goals and 2 assists. That would be poor just for one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So collectively, the three of them, I mean...
It's an abomination.
And you know what? Like, we like these guys. We root for them. We want them to do well, but it's a lack of consistency. Bijev hasn't scored yet. Blackwood has scored once, and that was, in the Vegas loss, a meaningless goal, really. I mean, honestly, it was. It was 90-plus minute, and it wasn't to tie the game or win.
It was a consolation.
Bonamos had a couple, but it's been absolutely terrible. It's been absolutely terrible. We hope it changes, but it's hard to give Elliott flack in that regard because, like, we can say, well, we want to see Bijev play 90 every game, but none of these guys are earning 90s every game. If you cannot produce in 60 or 70, then it's hard for me to start you the next game if you don't have a history of doing well. So we need one, probably two of these guys to really come back and step up and produce.
Yeah. Scott, why don't you dive in a little more on our attacking woes so far this season?
Well, I mean, there was promise, like the OC game, 3 missed chances. 2 of them, there's even, I think, 5 chances. Skundrich went for a ball. He missed it literally by an inch.
On a header.
And then, who else was it? I think it was, Blackwood was just a plain old miss.
Yeah.
Iwasa, when your best player is missing a breakaway.
Alamon missed one inside the box.
Yeah, so, it was just like an inch away. So, they were there. That's half of it. You got to be there to score. But then, the absolute last touch is the big problem. We can build up. We can get into the situation. But, breakaway, miss. You got facing up with the keeper, miss. Bonomo trying to ship over the keeper when he's literally standing right on the line. I don't know what that was all about. But I guess he tried. So, it's the last touch. And it's not always about stats. I don't care how we get there, as long Iwasa and Werner, if they score all of them, fine, as long as we get there. I don't care if Bijev doesn't get, another 3-4 goals, whatever, but if he can create, those don't show up on the stat line. When you create something, that's what he's known for, creating. Absolutely. It gets like Werner or Iwasa open, like drawing that attention to him, because he's got the dribbling skills. Get those guys open, and we know they're finishers. Those are our 2 solid finishers. So if we can get it to them, I'll take it if he gets no goals the rest of the year, but if he creates for those other guys and we're still scoring, it's still a point, whether he scores it or Iwasa scores it. So.
Well, yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I agree with you on the fact that it doesn't matter who puts the ball in the net. The fact is we're not putting the ball in the net. And the most telling thing about that is you look back at the stats of these games, and I know stats can be deceiving and whatnot, but we're putting more shots on target and more shots overall, period. It's just our shots on target are straight at the keeper. Our shots off target are like open sitters that went a mile wide. So teams are beating us, with less shots on target, less shots, period. They're beating us with less possession. They're beating us with less corners, but we're not taking the chances that we have. And for me, that's a lot of that is on the players. You can get in the good position. The manager can do everything he can to get you in the right positions. If you're not putting the ball in the back of the net, that's what you're paid to do, and you're failing at your job, in my opinion on that one. And I think we've seen that. We've seen the inconsistency. Iwasa scores 3 goals, doesn't score for 4 games. Then he gets another goal, doesn't score for 4 games. We have guys like Bijev that aren't scoring at all. These are guys that are being paid to put the ball in the net, and that's just harsh for me. You can keep clean sheets all day. You're not going to win games if you don't score goals.
Yeah.
I guess that's it, really. That's what it comes down to. The new signing, does that come in? Does he bring new life in? Dariusz Formella, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, is going to come in. A Polish player has been signed.
Formella, yeah.
Dariusz Formella.
Formella.
Yeah, there you go. We don't know much about him. I don't know much about him. I tried to look him up, and he's got a few years in the Polish league. It looks like he's got some good experience. He has won the league over there, so that's a positive. I don't know much about the Polish league myself, but he looks like a player that can come in and affect it. Is he a player, Mark, that you think is going to come in?
Well, what we do know is that he's an attacking player. He has versatility. He can be played as a winger. He's played striker. I'm not sure how our team plans on using him, but, man, we do need a shot in the arm for our attack, so I can't imagine that he would be a bad thing. Hopefully he can be that other player. Maybe you get Awasa and Warner to continue what they've been doing, and then you get a Bijev to maybe break out, or a Blackwood, and then you add Dariush Formilla. If he can bring something, it would be much needed. It's obviously the part of our team that needs the most improvement. So, hey, 6 foot, so good size. Looks like he's got some decent pace from what we know. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I mean, Barahona coming in was that mid-season signing as well, and it has seemed to pay off. He does look good. What do you think about this new guy coming in?
I'm curious to see. Well, obviously we don't know much about him, but who will he maybe? It's not so much individual stats, what size or how fast they are, or whatever. And sometimes it comes down. You can have a ragtag group of guys if they have great chemistry. You could be individual skill any day. So I'd like to put him in there, try him with him on one side, if he's going to be winger, him on one side, Bijev on the other, or him on one side, Warner on the other. Those two guys could work together. And then how does he work up with Iwasa? Iwasa's going to be there regardless, so he's got to work with Iwasa. You're not taking him out. Does he work better with Mono up top? Does he work better with Blackwood up top? What combo? And hopefully we find it fast and then get some consistency going into the end of the season playoffs. And if he's a every game starter, so be it. So I'm just curious, chemistry-wise, because like Barahona right now, I'm seeing.
But do we have any chemistry for the guys that are currently playing?
Well, the guys now that are together,
we're
I don't think they have
scoring
chemistry.
goals. You know what I mean? I see
chemistry.
what you're saying, but he wouldn't be replacing Awasa or Warner. I mean,
exactly.
let's be
That's
realistic.
what I'm saying.
So
Awasa's always going to be in there.
Yes, I see what you're saying about chemistry, because that is important. It is important to build those relationships with players on the field. Absolutely. But what's the worst that could happen? We throw him out there and he doesn't score any goals for us, or create chances, and we're in the same spot,
Can't
right?
do any worse than the current guys, right? Me personally, I saw that Sacramento Republic
We're
had
only
him.
laughing because it's really sad.
Yeah.
You know, it's really sad.
Me personally, the Republic did have him listed as a forward, and to me, that's the spot we're in right now. So he is listed on the Wikipedia over there as a midfielder, but I hope we do use him as a forward, because that's where we need him the most. And if he can get there and use his experience to get in and get us a few goals, even if that's poach goals, like let Warner, let Bijev take some shots, let him get on the rebounds. Yeah,
We'll take
anything
any
at this
goal
point,
we can get.
we'll take it. I think that's where he's most needed. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot. If you guys know more about him, put your comments below. We'd love to hear about it. I don't know too much about the guy, but hopefully he can come in and be like Barahona, where we do see positive change from him coming in and maybe adding more competition to a spot that doesn't have enough at this point, maybe.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be exciting seeing him come in, and maybe that does build us something new. All right, guys, so we're going to continue on with the coaching and the playing and how everything just hasn't been gelling. For me, I've talked about it with some other people, and I just think Elliott's not working out. I don't think he knows the right players. I don't think he has the answers for changing up tactics and things like that. I am one that hates to jump to the hashtag Elliott out right away, but I think we've given him enough opportunity, and he hasn't found a key to make changes that are going to be right for this team right now. He puts the same formation out with different players, it doesn't work. The one time he did do a different formation, we get a win, he changes right back immediately after that. So it worries me. I'll start over on Scott with this one. Scott, is the coach the right coach for this team right now? If so, yes. If not, why?
I'd say right now, yes. Our thing is we're not finding consistency on the field. If you want to change your consistency off the field now, yours is going to be a hot mess. We're going to end up, just call us Tacoma or whatever. Because you need that consistency. Yeah, he may not be the best choice or whatever, but take whatever you can while you can. So, I wouldn't do anything with him right now. Obviously, we saw the formation changes, how it did pay off. We can't tell him what to do. He's the guy that's getting paid the bucks to, make the calls. So all you can do is hope that he makes that call by, okay, go back to that three-man back, let, Hart, whoever, wander. Seeing the results, but maybe it's up to the assistants to maybe do some digging, like seeing what we're seeing right now, and maybe they have some power, put their 2 cents in. But right now, I don't think he's a bad coach. It just needs to get some consistency with the team. And we were high on him last year. We got second place. He just came in.
I'm going to put it out that I was never high on him last year either.
Okay.
I gave him the excuse that it wasn't his team last year.
And look what he did. He got second.
Yeah, but so.
But now he's got his guys, and it's 11th.
Yeah.
So
So I understand keeping him in. So how many more poor performances does he get before you change your mind on that? Say 3 more losses in a row.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I'm not a big fan of getting sacking coaches in the middle of the season.
You keep him to the end no matter what.
Keep him to the end.
A lot of times when the coach gets sacked, a new coach comes in and the team has the spark.
It's called the bump.
Sometimes.
New coach
a lot of times.
Sometimes.
I would say most often. Not saying that it's sustainable, but most often you replace a coach mid-season, that team goes up.
It depends on if the players are revolted. If we start seeing players speak out about him or like have negative attitudes,
the players look like they're having a good time.
Well, and we'll jump onto that. Let's hold off on that. Let's get Mark's opinion first on whether we keep Elliott or not, and then we'll jump onto the players.
All right. So we don't know what kind of control Elliott has had in the evaluation process or what the front office thinks of him. What we do know, the players. There's a lot of players out of form. Usually when there's a lot of players out of form, it really brings in the idea that there's a lot of unrest in the squad. Players aren't having fun. When you're not having fun, you're not connecting on chances, you're not defending tightly. I mean, we see it. It's not 1 or 2 players. It's the whole team that just seems like 100%. They're out of sorts. Another thing we know about Elliott, he is not a coach that plays a very attractive style. So if you're not winning and you're playing a very ugly game, it leads to a lot of criticism. When you play ugly and win, Jose Mourinho, for example, no one says anything. But when you start losing, the performances are dull, you're not scoring goals, then it becomes a problem. So, it's hard to say who's, I guess, at fault. But at the end of the day, the coach runs the team. And it doesn't seem like he is inspiring the players. And also, when you talk about tactics, we certainly don't see him try anything different. Yeah. And for me, if your players aren't working, you keep switching them out, but you keep the same system, the same tactics. Like, you got to show me as a fan, as a paying customer, that you're trying to make something happen here, that you're trying to change the results. We saw it with Portland, a formation change, 3 in the back. Did I think it was our best game? No. Did I think it was a little bit ugly? Yes. Did we win? Did we keep a clean sheet? And then we go right back to the 4-2-3-1 and we can't score and then we give up goals. So everybody has their own opinion, but we need to see results. And we expect as a fan base to not just squeak by into the playoffs. We expect to be one of the premier clubs every game. We expect to win every game. We won't win every game, but we expect, no matter if we're playing at home or we're playing away, it doesn't matter if we're playing Phoenix or we're playing Tacoma, we expect to win. And we don't feel that right now, so something's got to change.
Yeah, and actually you touched on a key thing for me, and it's the coach's inability to change tactics. Not just when things aren't working, but you need to think about your opponent. And you need a coach that's changing tactics, whether that's the players in a formation or not. But when the coach changes the players, it never seems to be tactical. It just seems to be, I don't know what's working, so I'm going to throw these guys on.
Let's try this player in this position.
Instead of making tactical changes game to game, he's just throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks. So it's not just formation, it's not even just players, it's how you go about a game. And this coach has no answers for that for me. But you were leading on it too. But for me, you also put a little blame on the players here. If players aren't in form and they're not adhering to a coach's formation, how much is that on the coach and how much is that on players? And right now it's hard to tell because we have players that aren't playing very well. I mean, could you agree? Is this more on the players maybe in that aspect because you were talking about keeping the coach around?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're ultimately the ones, especially the problems that we're having now is putting the ball in the net. Simon can't go out there and put the ball in the net for them.
Absolutely.
He can get them in the formation to get them to that point. So I would say, actually, players, 75% of the blame, 25% on the coach. 25% on him because you found a system you were winning at and you've had results, but you go back to it or you're just throwing players in. 75% of the players, mostly the attacking, you literally have to just kick the ball in the goal. You have you and the keeper. That's as a forward, I played that all my life. Dream scenario. You should hit that at least, 8 or 9 times out of 10, especially it's point blank, and we're missing point blank chances. So I'm going to have to lean more towards the players, but I mean, as we all know, the potential is there. It's just, do they want to actually finish the job now?
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott. I mean, it's tough to say because the players are getting an opportunities to score.
Exactly.
And with that, you have to say the formation is somewhat working to their advantage. But then when you see the overall sloppiness of the game as a whole and how those chances are created, it's still not good enough as a whole performance either. And that's what leads me more to the coach. You need to be tactically wise to use the players to their best to benefit. And I feel like that's not always taking place, in my opinion.
The only thing I'll say to that is we had chances against OC. And we were able to expose their back line and get in behind them. But I don't know if we've been creating a ton of chances all season. Yeah, we've
2 or 3 a game.
We've had a bad conversion rate, of course. So there have been chances where, you know, guys like Bonamo have missed where you're like, how, you know, but it hasn't been consistent every game where we're creating more chances than our opponent. I would say a lot of games it's 50-50. Or maybe our opponent has some. Even in the Portland game, in the one game in the last 6 that we did win, Portland could have scored a couple times. Yeah. Mahoney cleared the one off the line. Cohen came up with a huge save. I mean, I see the argument with you put the players in the position, but players are out of form. No one looks like they're having fun. You see guys put their head down.
There's been a heart,
they're not playing for the crest, and like a lot of times you got to go back to like what's practice like? What are they doing off the field as a team? What kind of team building is going on? How much confidence do they have in the coach? Do they think they're going to play the next game? Like, are they going into the next game like I'm getting my opportunity, or man, we'll see what happens this game if I get picked or not? And then are they slumping on the sideline? Are they putting their head down, bringing the morale of the team down? We saw at the beginning of the season how we would score some goals, like when Villarreal scored.
Yeah.
You remember the whole team. And I know that was big for him personally, but like I don't see that.
They seemed excited about it when they scored.
I don't see that. I see us making errors defensively because it's like that lack of that extra 5%, you know?
Absolutely, 100%.
And it's those little things that make the biggest difference. And for me, it starts at the top. If it was 1 or 2 players out of form, if it was just Bonamo and Bijev who couldn't score, and everybody else is playing well, I'd say, you know what? Maybe those players need to sit. But man, I look around, I look at our last game, I see 7-8 guys that are not playing well. Yeah. I see Cam Awasa playing the worst that he's ever played for our team. I mean, you know?
Well, they're missing that flair. That's the one thing I was also noticing when we get in those games where we're winning, 4-1s or whatever. I saw guys going for nutmegs. I saw guys have some shimmies. And now it's just like straightforward pass.
There.
Yeah, they're not incorporating that into the game at all. I mean, it is a game. You play games to have fun. If you're not having fun, at least have fun with it. I mean, if you're gonna tie or lose with 1 goal, hey, give me a nutmeg or a bicycle attempt. If you want to get us interested, if you want to game,
I'll just take goals. I'll just take
goals.
I'll just take goals.
A 0-0 tie, hey, I'd rather talk about, he almost had that bicycle kick or something like that, or you see that nutmeg when he went by that guy, than just like, okay, we just tied, we just went up and down the field and missed some chances. Like, there needs to be a little bit of spark, flair, get us talking as fans. I mean, okay, we're in 11th place, nothing to get excited about, but if we just some sort of energy, something gets us excited, we get excited, they can feed off of it, they get excited, and who knows where it can go from there. But there's like zero flair, creativity. I mean, it's really lacking.
This has been a couple months where it's been real hard for the supportership, especially going out to the live games. You've kind of seen the dip where people aren't coming out just because of how poor the performance is.
TBB's not even that loud.
Yeah, so it's
bash them, but they weren't.
Yeah, it's just been disappointing overall recently with that. But before we get too deep into that, let's move on. I lastly want to talk about, we do have some exciting MLS gossip coming around the corner. They were going to announce it, I think, but they had a board meeting here. I'll hand it over to Mark. I think you know a little bit more about this, and we'll kind of put in our 2 cents.
Yep.
Yeah, so MLS will be announcing a team. Sounds like, we've heard this before, yes, but by the end of the month, Commissioner Don Garber will be making a trip out to Sacramento, which is good news because, as we know, when MLS announcements are made, they are made in the city of the team that's trying to be in. So
they said that eventually.
Yes. So there won't be like a expansion franchise awarded to us while he's in Florida. So it is a positive step. I know a lot of fans are cynical at this point. A lot of fans have every right to be hey, wait and see, we've heard this before. But hey, this is the first year in Republic's existence where they've had a legitimate MLS bid, because previously the financial capital wasn't there. So our bids, yes, we had a fun fan base and we were an exciting market, but we didn't have the whale. This year we have the whale. So I think fans should be a little bit more optimistic, just because we've never had a bid like this. So the last 4 years don't matter. The last 4 years, the promises and all that doesn't matter. The new ownerships come in, they've put the money on the table. It's time for MLS to make a decision. Now, if MLS spurns us this time, then fans have every right to bash Garber and that whole process. But I think that Republic fans should remain positive and just be cognizant of the fact that this is the first time that we actually have a legitimate bid that can compete with the other franchises. And the other two in contention for bids, St. Louis and Charlotte, we're not bidding against them. We're bidding against ourselves. All three can get an expansion spot. MLS is at 27. They plan to go to 30. So we'll see what happens. I guess
there's
in the next
room
30
for
days.
everybody.
I guess by the end of August, we'll know our future.
Yeah, I'm a hopeful optimistic. I am been burnt, like you talked about. I'm one of those fans that are just like, I don't want to hear anything else about it until it's 100%. Until Garber's here making the goddamn announcement.
Well,
I don't care about all the other rumors
You
and
should
bullshit.
go talk to him when he's here. When you know he's here, go give him a visit.
I will not. But it does look more promising than ever. So I do have to say my hopes are up that this is going to happen this time. But yeah, that little bit of jadedness that I have about it does keep
Our
me.
fan base is very jaded.
But what also worries me now is with us losing and the fan base going down overall, the transition's going to be even harder unless we get some momentum built back up now.
No one will care though. If they get the bid, no one will get.
I'm really hoping MLS will give us another push back in here, because like we said before, we have kind of seen a lower turnout recently.
What would you rather have? Us make the playoffs and not get MLS, or us miss the playoffs and get MLS?
Miss the playoffs and get MLS. Disappointing. Don't get me wrong. I hate the fact.
We'll take it. Right?
I would hate the fact that we would ignore the season now for future, because what's important to me now matters.
We can get both. We can make the playoffs and get MLS.
That's the attitude we need to have. Like I said, I'm hopeful, but let's keep our fingers crossed and just not get too hyped up about it. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I've held off. I haven't been a fan of no MLS team. I'm like, Sacramento will have one, and then I will finally have an MLS team. So
I'm the same way. I'm the same way
on a Saturday to watch
You're not
Manchester United or whatever. I got work. I work nights, so I can't.
Well, you can do both. You can watch 4:30 in the morning, then 4:30 in the afternoon.
That's what I do.
And then you can be at the field. We'll be at our new stadium in 2022.
I have to watch.
You just need a nap in between, but you're good to go.
But regardless,
you'll be fine.
even if we finish poorly, if we get that MLS bid, I take a look at the Kings. The Kings have been garbage for how long now? But we got up with that Golden One Center. The thing was packed. It doesn't matter. It's something new for the city. Even people that are casual fans. And I saw we've all seen the pictures. It looks so cool.
It would be fucking glorious. All right.
So it'll be sold out. Regardless
for at least the first season, maybe.
Exactly. But
every single game forever will be sold out.
Let's give it a couple seasons and see if it turns out like we are currently. When the team doesn't do good in a couple seasons, we'll see how that does. But I agree.
The fair weather fans.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a bigger stadium to fill now. Will it roll over okay, there's gonna be that much more interest that they'll fill that many more seats? But if there's just the same interest as it is now, and we go into a bigger league,
everything will change, man. If you get MLS,
exactly.
everything will change.
There's the hopeful and there's the hopeful optimistic.
Seattle Sounders weren't selling 35,000 tickets when they were playing in the NASL and then the USL or whatever
that's
whatever
what we're
league.
hoping for.
They're selling 35,000 every single game.
And Sacramento does have the potential to be a big market like that if it's done right. If we move over and we're not FCC in the first freaking season and just lose everything.
But even them, they sell. They just suck.
But can we have San Jose so close? Are we going to be able to convert some of the San Jose fans over to Sacramento?
I don't think we have very many San Jose fans in Sacramento.
Well, I bet you they're coming around now that they're winning. So
I don't think it'll be too hard of a transition. I think we're far enough away.
It's a different media market.
Yeah, I think it's a different. I think it'll be okay. I don't think that. Yeah, I think we do need to go and have some strong seasons to really build a fan base and to hold that fan base. Though for me, here in the Sacramento market, we see right now in USL, we've never even had. We sell out games when we're doing good, but then when it gets bad, it dies out real hard. So we have to overcome that in MLS. I think for a key one, it's very possible. I think we could do it with the market we're in.
The Kings have been terrible forever, and they've been one of the most supported, even in the real lean years of 20 wins.
That's all we have. That's all
I mean, look. Kings fans are notorious in the NBA for being diehard fans. Like, everyone knows, like, man, the Kings fans deserve a good team. And I think Sacramento has such a good, like, sporting community.
Absolutely.
And the youth that are into sports in this community in Sacramento, not just soccer, but baseball. I mean, you look at the River Cats. The River Cats sell so well for a AAA baseball team. They're like the model franchise for a AAA baseball team. Kings are that model franchise for an NBA for support.
Yeah.
You put a soccer team here in a community that lives and breathes the game. I think it's going to be fantastic.
It's opposite seasons still. When the Kings aren't, they shouldn't
yeah.
maybe overlap for like a couple months if we're in the playoffs or whatever.
I expect what Portland has. Portland has a basketball team and a soccer team, and they both sell really, really well. We're very similar demographic, you know. Even in fact, we probably have a demographic that goes towards soccer a little bit more. So, man, it's going to be absolutely epic. Nobody needs to worry about anything. We just need to get the franchise, and everything will be great. I promise.
Well, as fans, I think we have to hope we get it. I think we have to want to be in the best league.
Absolutely.
I think we have to keep positive, like you said. In the fact that we're going to come in and we're going to be a good team.
They probably won't be in the league.
Yeah, they'll be gone.
But Vela, we want to see. We saw Vela in the friendly.
Yeah.
We want to see Vela. We want to see Nanny. We want to see the best, man.
Well, let's be optimistic out there. I know there's, like you said, a lot of people that are burned, but even your most, optimistic fan has to be happy when it comes, and we have to just like celebrate it and hope to God that everything goes right and we build a great team here in Sacramento.
Absolutely.
We're going to end this video here. A lot to talk about. We'll come back at you. I think we have a midweek game again next week, right?
Yep.
We do.
We do. So
it's a home game.
We won't be back with the podcast for a couple of weeks, so stay tuned. We'll have some fill-in videos on Facebook and Instagram out there. With the Old Glory Red Report on Instagram or on Facebook. Old Glory Red on Instagram and Twitter. Check us out on YouTube. Thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate it. Till next time. Thanks, guys.